You got powers. I got powers. I heard you're knocked up.
Inside the women's prison shower room, a mysterious woman draws everyone's attention. She wears a collar even while bathing and exudes a quiet elegance that makes the other inmates wary of her. Slowly, she turns around, revealing dark green hair and a piercing stare that sends chills through the room. Despite the other inmates' stares, she remains unfazed. She is Polaris, daughter of Magneto. Polaris has inherited her father's power to manipulate magnetic fields, making any metal object a lethal weapon. Yet, even with her formidable abilities, she lives a life of constant fear, hiding from a world where simply being a mutant is treated like a crime. One day, surrounded by police, she refuses to surrender. With a wave of her hand, she destroys their vehicles. As the police open fire, she disarms them without causing fatalities. Her boyfriend, Eclipse, whose hands emit bright white light, steps in to help. Together they escape, but a sudden gunshot from behind strikes him. As he lies injured, he pleads with Polaris not to retaliate, but enraged, she slams the shooter into a garbage bin before being subdued by an electric shock. Imprisoned for attempted murder, Polaris is offered a lighter sentence if she gives up her accomplices. She laughs off the offer, preferring death over betrayal. The prosecutor enters her glass prison cell, and Polaris senses the metal pins in his knee. Using her power, she twists them, causing him immense pain. He then reveals something that horrifies her: he is using a child, her unborn child, to manipulate her. Crushed, Polaris mentally breaks down. She's soon transferred to the infamous Lake Prison. Upon arrival, she's spit on by an inmate and nearly retaliates but is stopped by a guard. As she walks past the cells, she spots a completely white-skinned woman wearing a similar collar. Polaris immediately recognizes her as a fellow mutant. Back in her cell, she notices the room is filled with metal, including the toilet. She tries to use her powers to escape, but a violent force slams her into the wall, leaving her dazed. The other inmates mock her, except for the woman across the hall, who reveals the truth: the collar Polaris wears suppresses her mutant powers. No one who wears it ever escapes. Now pregnant, Polaris becomes more determined than ever to escape. During mealtime, she tries to befriend an inmate to learn about the collar, but the woman nervously avoids her and warns her to stay away. Seeing the fear in her eyes, Polaris understands she's being watched. During yard time, she studies the prison structure, towering walls and ever-present guards. Soon, the prison bully picks a fight, demanding Polaris polish her shoes. Polaris sarcastically insults her instead. Enraged, the bully's followers attack, beating Polaris badly. Despite being the victim, the guards throw her into solitary confinement. It's clear her treatment is due to her mutant identity. In isolation, Polaris clings to fading memories and endures. But things worsen. The Sentinel organization threatens her with miscarriage unless she reveals the father's identity. Refusing to break, Polaris tries to overcome her fear and test her powers again. To stop any further escape attempts, the authorities transfer her to a special facility, using a metal-free vehicle. Unexpectedly, she finds that Reed, the prosecutor who once manipulated her, is now a fellow prisoner. He apologizes and proposes they work together to escape. Initially reluctant, Polaris agrees for the sake of her unborn child. Reed says reinforcements are coming, and soon, the transport vehicle crashes. Alarms blare as guards rush to secure the area. A cloaked mutant tries to rescue them but is shot down. Powers are failing. Eclipse realizes the interference is coming from Pulse, a former ally believed to be dead, whose ability to suppress mutant powers has been weaponized. In the chaos, Eclipse draws fire with his pistol, trying to give Polaris a chance. They're briefly unshackled and try to fight back, but without powers, they're easily defeated. Just as hope fades, Thunderbird bursts in, disarming guards and disabling Pulse. With Pulse's influence broken, Polaris's powers return, but she still lacks metal to control. Then Reed reminds her of the metal screw in his leg. With his consent, Polaris uses it to launch a counterattack. She redirects bullets and disarms all enemies, reuniting with Eclipse. But there's no time to celebrate, drones are approaching. Eclipse wants to hold them off alone, but Polaris refuses to leave him. They flee together, aiming to regroup with their allies. As they escape, they encounter a drone. Polaris can't reach it, and Eclipse struggles to target it. They drive on, only to find their path blocked. While Eclipse suggests a detour, Polaris forcefully drives straight into enemy territory. She captures the bald agent and drags him into a factory, binding him with metal bars. Demanding answers, she calls Dreamer to search his memories. Dreamer recovers only fragmented images. Before they learn the full truth about Pulse, Sentinel forces arrive and surround the building.